much more focused and so much more advanced that we're still in a renaissance to get back to where they were 3,600 years ago.
Well, I'd agree with that.
That is the magic of the Kolbrin Bible.
Yeah.
It is the magic. And so, when we started publishing it, it was just to say, okay, here we can corroborate Sitchin and we have some ancient flyby proof. But what happens is that people read it and they fall in love with it because there's such incredible, incredible beauty. The best way I could describe that feeling, that effect you get from reading the text is, again, going back to the Blitz in England at the outset of World War II, and where Hitler had decided he was going to bomb London into the ground. It was at this time in the last century that Shakespeare was read more than at any other time in the 20th century by Londoners. Why were they reading Shakespearean plays where the bombs were falling? Because Shakespeare reaches us at a deep level. If you look at the plays, you look at Hamlet, these are people and they're in life and death situations, and it is the agony of just trying to make it through life. It's not, one of these dime store novels, that we like to entertain ourselves with. All right, Jacqueline Bisset and what have you. It's not Valley of the Dolls. It is something that really goes deep. And so when the bombs were falling on the people, they needed something that would reflect the deep need within them, that very deep human need. And so Shakespeare did the job. And that's the reason why Shakespeare was read so extensively, more than at any other time in the 20th century. The Kolbrin Bible is doing the same today for those who are coming to the topic and they want to feel a connection to the past. They want to feel a sense of hope. The one thing the Kolbrin tells us is that the stout-hearted will not go down to destruction. And that is one of the most beautiful things that comes out of it. It doesn't say this hopeless, we're all going to die. What it's saying is the stout-hearted. And it's saying that love and integrity is what you need to get through it.
And it's also maybe a way for us to connect with the ancients in that sense, and to get closer to the world that they experience, and from their perspective, it's always better to go straight to the source, as it were, than reading a dry, although it can be interesting, of course, but reading a dry historical, factual literary book, it's better to go to the mythological, the story record of the people themselves. And have you done any comparison in terms of, and I don't know if this exists or not, but various translations of the Kolbrin Bible? And is there anything that you prefer as opposed to some sources or some translations that might not be as vivid and as articulate, if you know what I mean?
Well, this translation is the only existing translation today.
Ah, okay.
And that the work has really struggled for survival, and it has numerous times in it. You had something that was originally, when the Egyptians penned it, it was in hieroglyphics, but then it was translated into Phoenician. From the Phoenician, it was translated to the ancient language in Great Britain. Then from that, it was translated into the Old English that Shakespeare used, and from that to the Queen's English, and then eventually we have here. So you have this process of translation that has happened over these many years, and it doesn't have, and I have to be the first to say, it does not have, like the Holy Bible, all of this will show us the manuscripts. But then again, it didn't have the problem of trying to survive, because those who were pushing the Holy Bible definitely didn't want to see a book like this exist, and were doing their level best to destroy it and any other documents like it. And so what we have is the last vestige of it that has survived time, that has survived church and state domination and suppression. And we have what we have. But when you talk about, everyone wants to get into issues of, well, what's the provenance? Provenance. You know, I bet you can remember back to when Der Stern magazine in Germany were really clipped on the Hitler diary. They paid a fortune for it. They printed up a gazillion magazines. They were going to make a killing, man. They documented this thing. They had provenance. They had experts. They had everything. They had the real McCoy. And then they found out they got took to the cleaners.
It was a fake.
It was a fake.
Yeah.
It was a fake with absolutely perfect provenance. And for Der Stern, it was a huge financial loss and a real slap in the face on their reputation. Now, the thing of it is that what we say is that when you read the Kolbrin, here's what you start to see. One, with the Hitler diaries, you had one voice with a linear story. If you are going to create a hoax, you want to do it in one voice so that you don't have to hire a team of hoaxers to collaborate. Second is that you want it to be linear instead of object-oriented. All right? Linear being, you know, and a diary is a perfect example of linear. Today I killed 1 million Jews. Tomorrow I'll kill you 1 million more. I mean, we understand the sequencing, right? With the Kolbrin Bible, there's probably as many as 200 different voices. Because again, remember, this is an anthology, if you will, that has pulled together all of these ancient stories from vast regions. And you have these different voices, and it is anything but linear. It was something where after the Glastonbury Abbey fire, and they had what they had, they tried to cobble it together in the best semblance of some kind of order. But when you read it, you know, you start here, jump to there, go to the other direction. So it's very nonlinear, hundreds of voices. But even though you have hundreds of voices, each of them have their own different personalities, their own different agendas, but it's still eloquent. It shows this great, deep, spiritual understanding that if you are some filthy little hoaxer that wants to, you know, go out and pull the wool over Der Stern's eyes, you're not going to see the world that way. And so the beauty is in the text itself. You read it, and when people read it, all of these issues that are raised up by debunkers, self-appointed debunkers, and this, it all melts away like tears in the rain.
Well,
it all melts away.
And I'm personally absolutely very, very interested, absolutely in reading the Kolbrin Bible myself, and I think that this is a really good introduction, as it were, going through some of the material that is included in it. And Marshall, what I want to do now is continue here a little bit more in our next segment. I want to take a short little break, and but also I want to give out some information from your point of view of how listeners who do want to get a copy of the Kolbrin, how they would go about doing that. I know, as you mentioned, then, that you have copies of the Kolbrin available through your website, and also the fact that you have indexed it, you've done a few editions and so forth, so it could work as a good reference work. But tell us how people can get a copy of the Kolbrin Bible, Marshall.
The Kolbrin Bible is, first off, if you go to our site, kolbrin.com, that's KOLBRIN.com, all of the links will be there. And we sell the Kolbrin in 2 different editions. One is the paperback, which we sell internationally. You can buy it through Amazon, Barnes & Noble, both in the UK, EU, USA, anywhere in the world. We sell it from our site. We ship anywhere in the world. We have a leather edition. The leather edition is only available from our site. It's a very limited thing, and we really set a high criteria for it. I didn't want, pseudo leather and, thin paper. I mean, I wanted a book that is a book, And boy, is this a book. I mean, this thing is so big and heavy. I mean, there's at least 3 counties in Texas that would classify it as a dangerous object, but it is beautiful. It's a nice thick paper. We also have, with our edition, we have audio courses that are available. You get 4 CDs, and some other instructional material. And our online edition, our Kolbrin online edition, also has additional supplemental at the back of the book. And we have various different packages that work it out. And, for folks that are coming to it, whether you buy it on Amazon or you buy it from us, you're getting it all. You're getting it all. We also have 2 abridged editions. We took, because one part of the book was written by the Egyptians and one part was written by the Celts. This is available actually online only from Amazon. We don't stock it, but we do have the smaller editions so that people can just focus on something and spend a little less money.
Right, excellent. The website again, the primary website, kolbrin.com, and we will have this linked up, of course, on redasscreations.com as well, so you can click through from our site easily. Marshall, thank you so much for the first segment.